So normally we like to start off the show talking about news, and we have a brief thing of news to touch on, but we're actually going to talk about the first episode of Jessica Jones, because that dropped Thursday of this week.
Do you guys remember the song Basketball Jones? Because that's what I think of when I think of Jessica Jones.
Don't worry, I got you.
Didn't you? Wait, isn't
Did I say this already?
You do Basketball Jones for something else.
Basketball Jones.
Yeah, you've brought this up before.
Wow.
Yeah, but not
Space
for Jessica
Jam really
Jones.
stuck with me.
Yeah, it was a big... You know, it's before Space Jam, right?
No.
It's a Cheech and Chong joint.
No way.
Yeah.
No.
It is Cheech and Chong.
It is a Cheech and Chong
It
joint.
says Cheech and Chong like 7 times on Spotify.
Jessica Jones.
So anyway,
we're going to talk about Jessica Jones and a little bit of iZombie, because we didn't give it a proper wink and a nod when it started up last week.
But that's at the end of the show.
Oh,
so,
you're saving it for the end?
Yeah, for right now. Real quick, let's touch on the one we weren't going to do news today, but it's a big announcement. Kristen Wiig is going to be Cheetah in Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah, Patty Jenkins confirmed that ish.
Do we like this? Do we not like this? I'll go ahead and get my opinion out of the way. I don't know, because she was terrifying in Mother for like the few scenes that she had. So maybe
good call.
Yeah, so maybe she can do a commanding tone. She can do like maybe like a business minded kind of more like methodical villain.
Yes.
But then she also needs to be a cheetah. So we'll see how that works.
Well, but she doesn't need to be a cheetah. The CGI around her needs to be a cheetah.
She needs to be in those jammies with all the little markers on them.
As long as her... no, I was going to do a spoiler for Jessica Jones. We'll get in that in a minute.
She's never let me down, so she wouldn't have been my first pick, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I like it. I think she's a terrific actress. If you've read Greg Rucka's recent run on Wonder Woman, that version of Barbara Minerva, I think Kristen Wiig would really kill. And again, like the intimidating, scary shit is probably going to be mostly carried by a computer. So I think she's going to be great.
Well, she needs a little bit of a presence there with scary, but she did kind of show that with Mother. So yeah. And she played all the ghosts in the Ghostbusters remake, so we'll see how that.
So there we go.
How that goes.
So
thank you.
Also, in the world this week, we got the first episode, or we got the whole season of Jessica Jones,
whole meat and potatoes,
like they always do.
That's a Netflix thing.
Yeah, and I've been hearing. I don't know about you guys, but I've been hearing that this season is maybe a little bit slower than last season. That maybe first season of Jessica Jones, awesome. This one might fall into the normal Marvel Netflix trap where there's not enough story to fill the episodes. However, I did not feel that at all in the first episode.
Yeah.
First episode's great.
Only one episode deep, and I really, really enjoyed it. I've heard similar things to you, DJ. And I don't know if I necessarily mind, because if it's all like this one, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was actually solid. It wasn't mind-blowing, but it was thoroughly entertaining the entire time, and it had some really good moments for Jessica. Also, really quick before we say our thoughts on this, tomorrow at 1 p.m. PST, we're going to be watching episodes 2 through 7 for Patreon peeps. So if you're part of the $10 plus tier, you can watch along with us. Just want to make sure you guys knew that, and make sure you tune in, because we want to make sure you're part of that. But I agree with you guys. Like, I think there was a cool take now on Jessica Jones post Defenders. Yeah. I like that they're looking at her. There's repercussions for the Defenders and season 1 for what she decided to do in the finale of that. I'm trying to be spoiler free in this. But,
how many episodes are there?
13.
13.
And so what's with 2 through 7?
We didn't want to do all of it, because it really wipes you out.
Yeah,
got it.
And also other scheduling difficulties and stuff like this. This was the slot we had.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I just didn't know if that. Do we hear the 7's like supposed to be a banger episode?
No, it's just half.
If it is
half. And then we'll do this week's episode is going to be about our main podcast is going to be about Wrinkle in Time. Next week, once we've been able to finish Jessica Jones, it's going to be about Jessica Jones in full.
Yeah.
Are we not? We're not getting into spoilers. It's the first episode. Maybe we can dive into spoilers a little bit.
We'll keep it a little spoiler free, just a little bit.
Oh, my favorite stuff was spoilers.
Like
Wizard.
Go ahead.
That was really cool.
Yeah. I like that they. So now that I've said that, they incorporate a not classic Marvel character in a really smart way. And here's the thing I like about it is that I think they're much more confident in how they're incorporating her work as a PI this season.
Yes.
And so I like that a lot, because I'm into that shit. I'm into detective, private investigator stories. And like you said, Sam, I was actually really interested. Like last season, they made a big deal like, oh, she killed Kilgrave. Isn't that kind of a bummer? I'm like, not. Other than the fact that David Tennant's great, within the world of this show, why is it a bummer? And this one shows the repercussion. This is actually the most believable arc I think I've seen for a hero. They're like, oh man, killing sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why I liked where we picked up.
Yeah. Like with the first case we stop in on, I think I think was a really smart way of introducing what her world is like right now.
Yes.
Did any of you guys throughout the episode, there were a few times where I'm like, there's a giant dragon skeleton under this city. Did any of you guys have moments of that?
No, but
Came and went.
Yeah, like every once in a while, you're like, oh man, this is so grounded, but there's a giant dragon skeleton underneath New York City.
blocks from where she's at.
Yeah, that's probably going to come up when I watch Infinity War 2.
April
Everybody's going to be
Fools.
like, there's a crazy space thing up above New York. It's like, yeah, but there's also a giant dragon skeleton underneath the city.
I did
As
really
there are
like
most.
Terry Chen's character. It's Price Chang. I like his whole spiel, and Jerry's going through the ringer. It looks like
Yeah.
she deserves. 'cause
She's not a good person.
No, not at all.
Interesting. Is Chang?
she's great, but she's a bad person.
No.
Remember what she did? There's a shit ton of bad things she did in the first season.
People do bad things.
Is Chang from the comics at all?
As far as I could tell, his character name wasn't released, so because I watched the episode this morning, I don't know. I can look up really quick, but as far as I know, no. This is
They really went for it with him.
Yeah, I like.
He's got a great air about him.
Yeah, I like the idea of a rival detective agency. His motivation makes sense. They did a really good job. This show's really good at that. It's like he is an antagonist to Jessica Jones. But like, if I knew him and not Jessica Jones, I would perceive Jessica Jones as the villain in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Definitely, obviously, like she is. That's what happens. He tries to do something good. I mean, how spoilery can we get? You said no.
Go for it.
Okay. He tries to do something like the decent thing to do. He wasn't trying to screw her over. He's trying to sell her. He's trying to buy her out. Basically, she says no, and then she comes to him and beats the living shit out of him.
Steals a client and beats the shit out of him.
She's definitely the bad guy in this situation.
Yeah, but it's interesting because we see it from her perspective, so we understand why she doesn't like him. I don't like him because I'm following Jessica Jones. But if you were in a different environment, it's like he's understandable. You know what I mean?
He's an asshole.
Yeah,
but that doesn't make him a villain.
Yeah,
he's going to be set up that way. But so far, he's not. And also, no, he's not in the comics. There was an article breaking it down, trying to find it, and they're like, nah, there's
not really.
Some characters with similar names, but not Price Chang.
I'm also interested to find out. We get the hints of what it's probably not even the big bad, but the big threat of the season is, and I'm curious to see what that ends up being because we're kind of like
a few different, at least a few antagonists. It looks like
yes, because Will Travell is back as Nuke. What's his Simpson? Yeah, which I'm excited about.
Me too.
Because he's a really good actor, and I'm glad that at first I was like, man, I'm so burnt out on superhero shows that I don't know if I care if Jessica Jones is back. And by the end of the first episode, I'm like, oh, I'm so fucking happy Jessica Jones is back.
Yeah, I always loved Jessica Jones, so I always cared about that. But I get what you're saying. But it fills such a different void that we don't have right now.
Yeah, it really. I feel like this and I think the next closest show to this might be actually Punisher, to fulfilling, I think, the mission statement of these Defenders Netflix shows is Jessica Jones. Like that kind of like a superhero story told in a more grounded, mature way.
Yeah.
They just really nail. And also they gave me the Wizard, and the fact that this show went that route makes me really happy.
Yeah, are you a big Wizard fan? Or?
No, I like that. No, but I like the idea. I like it when shows like this utilize that mythology, like characters nobody gives a shit about, nobody ever would give a shit about. Instead of just saying, "Oh, it's a random speedster that's like overweight and kind of is on medication." And it's just some random person. Like, no, we found a character in the comics and then also the explanation of his name is hilarious. It's just a good use of the Marvel mythology.
Wait, what was the? I knew he was a bully name, but is there a reason why?
Probably because he peed his pants.
Yeah. I went back and forth between whether I liked the visual effects of him or not, though.
They didn't have a budget for it, and they used as much as they could.
I thought it looked good for the show, and also considering how ridiculous he is.
Yes.
It only works when he's scared, which is awful. At a certain point, you got to get cocky. It's not going to work anymore. Yeah. Or you just run until you're not scared anymore, and then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like it just. I didn't like it. Not that I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I just like that if we're going to get this much of it, perfect amount. Perfect amount. He doesn't need to be sidekick number 2. And how they used sidekick
number one,
which is I like, and also like that he's trying to get her to not drink anymore, but they also are doing it with a Red Bull, which hypocrite coming from me, but also not like if
Not
you keep
good for
you
you.
keep handing
Yeah.
if every time a new client comes in, you hand her a full bottle or a can of Red Bull.
How much is Red Bull paying for that?
A lot, probably.
Yeah.
So is Jack Daniels, though. So
Yeah, that's very, very true. I think, though, that just to be nitpicky for a second, if the time that you are able to move this quickly is when you're most scared, you don't think you see that falling on you and you buzz out of there?
Yeah. I mean,
Like, you got killed by something you saw.
we're gonna have a fun conversation for Flash this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's what
Malcolm is his name, and I like the way they use it because Malcolm was super interesting until they got him off drugs in season 1, and then he just kind of was there.
And same with Defenders, he was just there.
Oh, guess what? You know what partially makes this first episode so good is that the neighbor's not around, and hopefully is not around at all.
Nope, she should never come back.
Nope. The one
So
one week part of
unnecessary.
season
Wherever
1.
her brother went, she should go too.
Yes.
It's a mean thing to say.
It is kind of a mean thing
really
to say.
rude thing
but
to
that
say.
character did not add it. It was the only weak link of season 1 of Jessica Jones, in my
What do
opinion.
you guys think about her sister?
Trish?
Yeah.
I always like Trish. I like the new boyfriend.
The new boyfriend also.
He's definitely either going to turn out to be a huge asshole or dead.
He had a great. I love his sense of
Yes.
humor, even though it's awful. But
Yeah.
I love. It was a great joke. It was like, oh no, you're gonna keep. What was it like? You're gonna keep these kids stupid or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
It was funny. It was funny, and I liked the.
Other stuff.
Her at the party. Her at the
Yeah.
party doing the Patsy stuff. Like,
That was such a great
really
way
funny.
to come back to her.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, where's her life right now?
I'm glad that she's not like doing that for money. She was doing it because she's
Yes.
now a
Yes.
superhero.
Also, again, the way that you, because in the comics, Jessica Jones' best friend is Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, not Hellcat, and so
Yes,
changing
Cara
that.
Danvers. You guys heard that right?
Yeah, and then so the way they've incorporated elements of Hellcat into this show and that character's history, because she started off as like a teen soap comic before becoming a superhero book. Like, it's just really smart. The way they use the wider Marvel canvas is just really smart in this show, and I really appreciate it.
Very cool. I think overall we're enjoying it.
Yes.
And we're gonna come back next week for the main episode with our full thoughts on it. But make sure you come in tomorrow, 1 p.m. PST, to watch along with us. We're gonna have a pizza. And we're gonna be doing it in a new location. That doesn't matter to you. It's gonna be a different, different background.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't get to know. I know nothing, Jon Snow.
That's not the line.